If your computer runs Windows like most of today's computers, then you are familiar with the three options it gives you when you click the on-off icon: sleep, shut down, and restart. And since you've been using computers for some time now, you probably have a really good grasp over what these functions do. But if you ever installed some software that kept asking for a restart even though you've just shut down your computer last night and wondered why, then you are in the right spot, because my name is Andrew Dandrew and I am on a mission to search this entire wonderful universe for answers to the most important questions and explain the answers to you like you are 5. So let's see what difference there is between a restart and a shutdown. It's no news that today's computers are blazingly fast. Tasks that would have taken days just years ago take minutes on today's fastest CPUs. But there are also other aspects of computer usage that have seen a lot of improvement, such as the time it takes for a computer to turn on. I remember that my first Windows XP computer took somewhere between 1 to 2 minutes just to boot up and reach a usable desktop, while your average computer today takes somewhere between 20 to 30 seconds, and high-end systems can take even less than 10 seconds to boot up. This is partially because today's SSDs are just a lot faster compared to older mechanical hard drives, but it's also because of the way the shutdown button used to work and how it works today. In the past, shutting down a computer was like a car mechanic taking his tools and putting them back into the toolbox, cleaning the garage before going home for the day. When you booted the computer back up, so when the car mechanic was back at the shop the next day, he would take the toolbox and before getting to work, he would do an inventory of all of the available tools in the toolbox. This took a lot of time and was rather unnecessary since changes to the toolbox didn't happen so often, they happened rarely. In our analogy, the mechanic is the operating system's kernel, the part that interfaces directly with the hardware and allows it to communicate with the software. There are many things a kernel does, such as initializing the devices and their drivers, setting up the graphical user interface, setting up the sessions, and so on. But for the sake of this simple explanation, we will concentrate on the part of initializing the devices and their drivers, the tools of the mechanic. Since we all love fast computers, today's operating systems try to waste as little time as possible. The latest version of Windows has implemented a feature which basically takes the state of the kernel and saves it to disk when you press shut down. The next time you boot the computer up, instead of starting the kernel up from scratch, it loads the previous saved state, which is a lot faster. But if during the last session you installed some new device drivers or some new piece of software that requires hardware access, your operating system will ask you to do a restart, which first shuts down your computer completely, including the kernel, and then boots it back up from scratch. While this will take longer than usual, it is required if you change something in the toolbox of the mechanic. So the mechanic will now do the inventory and notice the new tools. This is what the kernel does. It notices the hardware changes, the driver changes, the software changes you did, and now properly implements them so they are ready to be used. You can check out when you last restarted your kernel if you open up the Task Manager, go to the Performance tab, and under CPU, check out the uptime. The time there will be a lot bigger than you expected, especially if you shut down your computer every single night. The last available option, Sleep, allows for a nearly instant boot up time. This is because your computer doesn't entirely shut down. The RAM stays on, keeping track of what you were doing on the computer, so that when you power it back on, you get an instant resume. This is like the mechanic never actually leaving the garage, but instead just taking a seat and waiting for the next day of work. This is only recommended for short periods of time because your computer still takes a lot of power to sleep. So now you know why your computer still asks for a restart even though you just shut it down last night. And if you want to know more about other subjects, maybe check out my channel and watch my other videos. If you enjoyed this one, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and maybe also subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when I upload a new video. I hope you'll have an awesome day, week. My name is Andrew Dandrew, and I'll be signing out right now.